a journalist who was an eyewitness to a devastating human rights abuse that the world was ignoring. Would you share what you knew? Or imagine you're a criminal prosecutor and you have proof to convince a judge that an unspeakable crime has occurred. Would you bring that evidence forward, or would you bury it? Finally, consider that you are a witness to a murder and no one else saw what you saw, and no one else believed you when you told them what you saw. If you had videos or pictures to convince people in denial of the truth of your claims, would you show that information? In each case, the answer is obvious. Those who seek justice expose the truth. Indeed, that's why movements such as the abolitionists or those fighting drinking and driving used images to educate the public. In fact, historically, injustice was made unthinkable when it was first made visible. That is why when it comes to abortion, the pro-life movement must employ the use of abortion imagery. Our society is not convinced abortion is a great evil, which is why it continues to remain legal. So in order to shift society's understanding of abortion from that of choice to that of a moral wrong, we must provide the most compelling evidence we have, and that's pictures of abortion. A good test of the power of abortion pictures is to see how abortion advocates react, and time and again we see them attempting to cover up the evidence. In 2001, when my colleague Jojo was studying in Ottawa, he invited international pro-life speaker Scott Klusendorf to speak on campus. Partway through the presentation, Scott was going to show a graphic video about abortion, but a woman from the university's Women's Resource Center, Roseanne Lapine, pulled the plug on the machine to stop the truth from being shown. Back when I was a student at UBC, 3 student union representatives attacked my club's graphic display of abortion imagery in November of 1999. More recently, in the spring of 2010, protesters blocked graphic abortion imagery that was on display again at UBC. A year prior, when my colleague Jojo was scheduled to speak at McGill University, a mob of 20 protesters interrupted his presentation less than a minute into it and chanted, sang, and yelled for more than 2 hours. When he tried to show graphic images, they blocked his screen. And so, if abortion advocates so vehemently suppress the truth, that's a good sign of its effectiveness. The last thing pro-lifers should do is aid abortion advocates in the cover-up. Instead, we must expose the crime. As the great civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said,
"Like a boil that can never be cured as long as it's covered up, but must be opened with all its pus flowing ugliness to the natural medicines of air and light. Injustice must likewise be exposed with all the tension its exposing creates to the light of human conscience and to the air of national opinion before it can be cured."
Of course, staunch abortion advocates hate much, if not all, of what pro-lifers do. But their particularly vicious reaction to our display of abortion imagery shows just how much they despise that approach. And yet, when these images are displayed, people choose life for their children. And so we have to continue to show abortion imagery because it saves lives. That's why in every aspect of CCBR's work, we use imagery. And in each area, we see minds changed. In February of 2009, I spoke at a high school in Ontario. Several months later, I received this email from one of the teachers.
"I just had a visit from a girl in grade 10 who found out yesterday that she is 7 weeks pregnant. She said she is keeping the baby, no questions. I congratulated her on her pro-life feelings, and I asked her how she had come to feel as she did. She spoke about your presentation as having a real impact on her and what her sense of what an unborn child truly is. You have planted seeds that are growing firm roots in the hearts of our students."
Several days later, that teacher emailed again.
"What I forgot to tell you is that this is the second girl in the last 6 weeks who has come for help saying she is pregnant with a total desire to keep the pregnancy. Both mentioned your talk as being a main reason for not seeing abortion as an option.